The last 12 months have been restrictive, to say the least. Places that we would usually venture out to with our cameras have been off limits. With restrictions easing within the next few months, it's made me think, am I ready to get back out there? I might really want to, and I'm full of enthusiasm to explore new places, but will I have the same inspiration? Will I be able to pick up where I left off? Do I want to pick up where I left off, or is it time for a new start? And putting all of these thoughts together has made me come up with what I think is one of the most important questions as photographers we can ask ourselves. And that's what we're exploring in this latest episode of Thinking Photographically. What makes you pick up a camera? I don't know about you, but even though restrictions have been in place, photography has been at the forefront of my mind. I've not just put my camera on a shelf and let it collect dust. I've been out and about with it within my local area. And that's been really positive because I've found things that I wouldn't necessarily have found otherwise. I've also had the time to learn more about photography. I've been watching videos on YouTube, listening to photography podcasts, and reading photography articles on a daily basis. I don't just run a business that is photography centred. I'm also a real keen photographer myself as well, and it forms quite a large part of my life. Having had extra time, I've found myself looking back to where I started from and looking ahead to where ultimately I'd like to be as a photographer and fitting myself as I am now somewhere in the middle. In looking back at my photographs, I found something really quite interesting. Although the photographs that I've been taking over the last few years are obviously more technically accomplished because I know more than I did when I started, the photographs that I made when I first started out in photography were so much more playful and dynamic in the way that they were put together and in terms of the subject matter as well. That dynamic playfulness, if you would call it that, comes from the fact that when we start out in photography, we're learning all the time, picking up new techniques and wanting to try those out on various different subjects. Hence, we choose different ways of photographing and our photographs take on this very dynamic feel. And once we've learnt all of those techniques and composition and all the things that go together to make photography and find the path that we want to follow, then things start to plateau out a bit. We find a style, we find ourselves as photographers. I might have found myself as a photographer, but what I did see as I looked through all of my photographs over the last 10 years or so is that I'd latched very much into a comfort zone. I wasn't just photographing my style, I was photographing for a purpose rather than just for me. I was making photographs that would sell photo walks and show people who came on those photo walks what good examples of photographs might be in those specific locations, looking at those specific techniques or that kind of subject matter. We all like to gain recognition for our photographs. A pat on the back from somebody that we look up to or somebody with a high standing within the photography industry is bound to boost our confidence. But that's not the be-all and end-all of photography. If we start making photographs that are just there to please other people, then we're going to start finding ourselves falling out with photography. We're going to stop being interested and stop being inspired in making the photographs that we love to photograph. Because if we're making photographs for other people, then we're not really connecting with what it is that we're photographing. We can only connect with what it is that we're photographing if we're photographing it for ourselves. If you're doing photography as a job and you've been given a specific brief, then by all means follow that brief, because at the end of the day you're going to be paid for those photographs that are being made with other people in mind. Likewise with my photo walk marketing, I can't avoid the fact that I have to go out and make photographs of these locations that are ultimately going to help sell photo walk places. But I've also realised over the last 12 months that I need to make time to take photographs for myself. My business is one thing and myself as a photographer is another thing. And that's something that has really been brought to my attention over the time in my life recently where I haven't been able to get out and put as much effort into the business as I would have done before the lockdown started. With that realisation, the process started in thinking about how I could bring together those two elements of my life in photography. The technical advancement as I've progressed over the years, and that playful dynamism that I had when I started. The problem is that I've found the path that I want to follow in photography, and people usually say that I have a style that signifies a photograph that is made by me. So I didn't want to deviate from that path too much. I just wanted to bring a bit more of that playful nature into my photographs. It's then when it hit me. Good, dynamic, playful photographs don't necessarily have to come by trying new things, by being experimental. You can take dynamic photographs using your own style. It all comes down to that really important question. What makes you pick up a camera? If we keep that question in mind every time we go out with our camera, we will remember who we are as photographers, where we started, what made us pick up a camera for the first time ever and think, actually, I wouldn't mind taking a photograph of that. Because that taps into our true identity as photographers. The thing that no other photographer other than you will be able to photograph, because it comes from deep inside, not this superficial, I want to take this photograph because it might please so and so, or it might get X amount of likes on social media. Our own true identity of photographers is based upon what makes us as individuals pick up a camera and make a photograph of a specific thing. If we bear that in mind, not only will we be inspired to pick up our camera again and again and again, it will also help us to enjoy the process of making photographs even more and keep that enjoyment going no matter what sort of hurdles that we hit further down the line. So that takes me back to that question that I asked right at the very start of this video about myself as a photographer, in terms of the restrictions lifting and whether I'd be able to either get back to where I was in terms of inspiration or starting again from fresh. Now, I suppose it's going to be somewhere in the middle of those two things. I don't want to start from scratch because I've built up a portfolio that I'm pleased with, and I've got my own specific style that I don't really want to leave behind. But at the same time, I don't want to get back into that creative rut or that comfort zone that I was in. I want to pull in more of that dynamism. And remembering what makes me pick up a camera, I'm sure will help me do that once we are allowed to get back out again. At the end of this video, I'll share with you some of the photographs that I've been making during this recent lockdown period, where I've been going out into my local area, just trying to keep my creative juices flowing and trying to get some of that playful dynamism back into my photographs. But before I do, if you've enjoyed this video and learnt something from it, then please give it a like. It really helps us to disseminate our channel across YouTube and bring this content to more people. I'd also be really interested to hear what makes you pick up a camera. To share that with me, please place it in that comment section below. If you haven't yet subscribed to Yorkshire Photo Walks on YouTube, then please do so and hit the bell icon to be reminded every time we post a new video. With restrictions lifting, it means that my photo walks out in the field can start up again. Exciting times. If you'd like to join me in unique and inspirational Yorkshire locations to improve your photography skills, then check out our website, yorkshirephotowalks.com. You can also follow us on social media for all of our latest news and photo walk photographs. For that, it's at PhotoWalksYorks. And if you want to check out my own personal portfolio of photography, then go to theflatcappedphotographer.co.uk. Next time you go out with your camera, before you pick it up, think, what's making me do this? If you do that, then I'm sure that you'll not only be more dynamic with the photographs that you make, you will enjoy the process much more as well, rather than having to impress everybody all the time. In photography, the most important person that you need to impress with your photographs is you. Thank you very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.